Hi, I'm Daniel Krasnegor. I'm one of the attorneys with the Veterans Benefit Group of Goodman, Allen, Donnelly, and we're here today to talk about total disability ratings due to unemployability. That's a type of veterans benefit that someone who is unable to work due to their service-related conditions can get from the VA. It's a type of compensation, and we'll be here to answer your questions during this live talk. Feel free to, if you're watching this, not during the live presentation, to get back in touch with us. If you do have questions, we're happy to talk to you anytime. Best way to reach us is by calling us toll-free 877-838-1010, or going to our website. You can get in touch with us that way too, www.vet1010.com. That's VET1010.com. So let me go ahead and start talking a little bit about this benefit, what it is, and if you have questions while we're talking, we'll be happy to stop and answer. So basically, let's start with what is total disability due to individual unemployability. Sometimes you'll see it called TDIU. This is a benefit that's available to veterans who are service-connected already for a condition or more than one condition. And when those conditions actually prevent the veteran from being able to be gainfully employed, they can get a 100% rating. Currently, that's a little over $3,000 a month for a single veteran, a little bit more for a veteran. Actually, maybe a little bit under $3,000, but just around $3,000 for a single veteran, a little bit more for a veteran with dependents. So how do you go ahead and get TDIU? And we'll call this TDIU during the discussion, a little easier to talk about it that way. There are two basic ways that a veteran can qualify for TDIU. One is called a scheduler TDIU, and that happens when a veteran has combined disabilities, has at least one disability rated at 60%, or two or more that combine to at least 70%, with at least one being 40%. The important thing is, though, no matter what your percentages are, you need to be able to show that those conditions by themselves would prevent gainful employment. And gainful employment basically means not necessarily what you particularly were trained to do, but basically says that someone, the average person who has a background like you, would be able to do. So that's the first way you can get it, if you have a scheduler rating that's high enough. If you don't have a scheduler rating that's high enough, it doesn't mean you don't qualify. A lot of times VA will say that if you don't have at least that 60%, you can't get TDIU. That's not true. In fact, you can get it on what's called an extra scheduler basis. And in order to qualify for that, you still need to have the same evidence. You need to have all the evidence has basically got to show that according to a doctor or other sources, you're unable to be gainfully employed due to your service-connected disability. So, and I'll mention also as we're talking here, if you want to, and you can feel free to leave a comment or let us know where you're watching us from. We always like to see that. We're located in Virginia, our firm, but we actually represent veterans all over the country and all over the world. So we're happy to hear from you wherever you are. So a couple questions that have come up in the past, which I want to go over, and they may be some of your questions today. One of which is, that comes from veterans frequently, is, well, why aren't I getting unemployability benefits from the VA when I'm already getting Social Security disability? And the answer is certainly specific to your case, but in a general sense, it's important to understand that Social Security rules for unemployability benefits are not the same as the VA's. For Social Security, and I'm not a Social Security expert, but generally, Social Security benefits are going to be awarded no matter what's causing your inability to work. On the other hand, veterans disability unemployability is only going to be awarded based upon your service-connected, your already service-connected disabilities. So what do you want to do if you've already been awarded Social Security disability and you also want to get veterans unemployability benefits? A few things to think about. One, the VA is going to ask you for an application, and you can download those online. If you have a representative from one of the service organizations, they can help you get it. That's going to ask you for information about what sort of work you did in the past, where you worked, when you last worked, what conditions you think prevent you from working, things like that. You want to make sure that when you fill out that application, you do it completely, and that you also tell the VA about which of your conditions prevent you from working. And if you have any documentation, especially from a doctor, explaining why it is that your service-connected disability prevents you from working, it's always a good idea to present that as well. You got to also be a little bit careful in if you have both service-connected and non-service-connected disabilities that prevent you from working, because you want to make it clear that if you are only looking at the service-connected disabilities, that those would be enough by themselves to prevent you from working. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to make it clear that it's not the non-service connected problems that are causing you to be unable to work. So the form you actually need to complete is called a VA Form 218940, and that's going to provide information about your previous employment. We can help you get copies of those forms, or at least point you in the direction of where to find them. You just need to get in touch with us, again, at 877-838-1010, or by going to our website, www.vet1010.com. So other information that might be useful in trying to present your unemployability claim would be statements from your prior employers that might indicate why you stopped working. I think it's also probably a good idea, if you stopped working for a reason other than your service-connected disabilities, to at least explain why you still think you're unable to work due to those disabilities. So for instance, if you retired just because you reached 65 and you think though that now you still wouldn't be able to work due to your service-connected disabilities, you want to be clear and say, well, I did retire from my last job, but the reason I can't work now is because of my service-connected disabilities, and here's why. So not a good idea necessarily to hide things. The VA is likely to figure out what's going on. They're going to talk to your final employer and find out why you left. So you might as well be upfront and get all that information out there. You can also provide copies of your Social Security decisions. That can be good information, especially if it implicates your service-connected disabilities and the reason you're unable to work. So that's a real basic sketch of how unemployability benefits work. I'm happy to take any questions, and we're happy to take them now, and we're also happy to take them in the future. Just give us a call. Again, 877-838-1010 is the number to reach us, and the number or the website to find us is www.vet1010.com.